What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with a cold. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today I've got a story time for y'all that's going to be a little bit longer. Hopefully you enjoy it, about a Karen that ended up, ruining a sleepover. It was sent in by a subscriber, but I love this because, usually a Karen threat comes from the outside. It's someone that you least expect it. But on this particular instance, it came from inside the crew. Basically, the kid who threw the sleepover's mom was a Karen, and it's just downhill from there. And it's got to be embarrassing to be in that situation, but that's just the way the ball bounces sometimes. But regardless, it should be a pretty fun video, and without further ado, let's get into it. But before we do, press the like button, or no joke, no scam, your mom will turn into a Karen. Yeah, that's right. Unless you press the like button right now, your mom will be 100% Karified, and that's not a good thing. And let's go.
I'm getting quiet now. Laying low when you reach, so I'm piping down. Making out, stack the bread.
Alright, so what you gotta know is there was this kid at this guy's school that everybody was pretty cool with. We're gonna call him Mark for the story, and he was a cool enough dude. His birthday was coming up, and he ended up inviting the whole class because that's just the type of guy Mark was. And obviously, when you're a little bit younger, whenever somebody has a birthday party and they're like a cool kid in the class, everyone and their mom wants to go. And so as soon as Mark hands out the invites, everyone's excited. It's going to be a huge party, but the only one that didn't seem excited about it at all was Mark himself. And he starts literally telling people, like, you might not want to come to my birthday party. Trust me, it's not going to be that fun. My mom's just a little different. She's not a big fan of fun, was his exact words. And he's like, I just wouldn't really recommend coming. And keep in mind, these kids are probably about 8 when the story takes place. So, like, this is a young dude being like, nah, my mom's just not very fun. But obviously, at that point, everyone in the class is like, well, everyone's embarrassed of their mom, so most of the kids just RSVP anyways, being like, it'll be a great time, Mark's awesome, there's no way that his party won't be awesome. And on top of just the entire class being invited to the party, there was a smaller group of Mark's, closest 5 friends in the class that were also asked to spend the night, and obviously they said yes because it was their friend's birthday, that's just what you do. And he kind of told them, hey, just so you're aware, my mom can be a little wild. Don't be surprised if the sleepover isn't what you expect. And everyone kind of thought that Mark was just being a little bit dramatic. There's no way it could be that bad. And finally, the day of the party comes and everybody shows up to Mark's house, right? And instantly, it's obvious to everyone that the party is not what they expected, and maybe there was a little bit of truth to what Mark was saying in the first place. Because when you get there, his mom had decided to be blasting classical music. Literally playing Beethoven at a 3rd grade birthday party with all the kids showing up. And listen, I'm not gonna sit here and say classical music sucks in every situation. It doesn't, but that being said, when it comes to a party, it really sucks for that situation, you know? Who wants to bust a move with Bach? It's just not something that I feel like a lot of kids are necessarily down to be having a good time to. And I know music doesn't make everything, but sit in a room with classical music blaring and tell me you're even in the mood to have fun. I just don't really think that's how it works. On top of just the weird music giving a weird atmosphere, on the invite it said there was going to be plenty of snacks and lunch, and there's no chips, there's no cookies, the normal birthday party staples. Instead, there was just this snack table with carrots, celery, and ranch, and some type of salad that looked like it was literally made out of grass. That was reminiscent of how it smelled and looked like. And listen, I'm all for being healthy. I understand, you don't want your kids to eat a billion cookies, but it's just kind of weird when you tell everybody there's going to be a lot of snacks and everything, and then you have 4 carrots, 1 celery stick, and a rabbit that if anyone wants to take a bite out of, I guess they could. This is a birthday party. You're blasting classical music. You're treating it like it's your book club, not a bunch of 8-year-olds that wanted to jump in a bounce house. Anyways, obviously, when you invite a group of kids that think they're going to be at a birthday party and they show up and it looks like this, they tend to get disappointed pretty quick. And Mark is literally sitting in one corner of the room as all of his classmates are just kind of sitting there. And he looks mortified. It's his birthday party. He's supposed to be having a great time, having a blast, but he just looks like he's just having the most miserable time on the planet. Literally reminiscent of someone awaiting interrogation for a crime they just committed. Just not looking too stoked by any means. Anyways, the entire class is there and everyone's just kind of sitting there quietly talking about stuff, literally whispering most of the time because the classical music is so loud, just not really knowing how to act or behave. And literally no one's being loud, right? No one's interrupting the music, no one's critiquing anything, everyone's just kind of quietly whispering to each other. But Mark's mom starts going around to all the people that are whispering at each other and says that they're ruining the music for her. She can't properly enjoy the music that's playing when people are whispering because it ruins the experience for her. And listen, man, it's just reality that when you're at a party, people are going to be talking over the music. I thought that was just common sense, but apparently not. Not to mention, you're playing classical music, bro. You're playing Beethoven. Like, what, have you not heard this song a million times? It's been out for 300 years. How is anyone whispering gonna ruin anything for you? Anyways, that's the vibe of the party going on. I think at this point you kind of get an explanation. Anyone trying to have fun gets shut down pretty quickly because just no fun allowed. It's just not an acceptable day. Birthday parties are not the time to have a good time. I don't know what you kids were taught. And after about an hour, people start to file out. The party had been scheduled on like the little invitation thing to last all day, but once people kind of realize that it's not going to be a very fun situation, parents and kids just kind of start leaving pretty quickly. And it gets to the point where, like, after 2 hours of the party starting, it's basically just the 5 kids that are, like, going to spend the night are the only people left. And I'm gonna assume that most people ended up leaving because of the no fun rule, but another reason that I think people filed out pretty quickly from this dude's explanation is that for some reason, this Karen was only playing like the same 3 classical songs over and over and over again on a loop. It was like those were just the 3 she knew. So obviously you're in a situation where you can't talk because you're interrupting the music, but the music is just the same 4 songs from 800 years ago on repeat. Like, it's just not a very fun situation. So like I said, everyone leaves and it's just the smaller group of kids that's gonna be spending the night there. You know, they're gonna have a great time. They're gonna have a blast. Oh wow, we're gonna have a great time at Mark's house. The truth was everyone else that left actually escaped Karen Castle. You know, they were the winners at that point. Because after everyone leaves, Mark's mom sits everybody down and is like, I have rules for my house that I need you guys to follow. And obviously the 5 of them are like, okay, I guess this is kind of different, but whatever, I understand. But the rules she starts explaining make no sense. She said that they were to treat her house like a library, which meant only whispering. There was never an occasion where raising your voice was necessary, ever. And even if that's not weird enough, right? Like having library rules in your house. It's a really weird rule to have when you invite a bunch of kids over. Cause like, call me crazy, I don't think any kid is good at being quiet for an extended period of time. Like, okay guys, my house is a library, whispering only. But on top of that, there were other rules that were just absolutely insane. She told them that if anyone had to use the restroom, they were to ask for permission first so she could make sure that they weren't dirtying up the bathroom. It seemed like this lady was just being super protective of her house, no raising voices, no using the bathroom without my permission, no like any of that stuff. It was almost like she was just horrified that if she let these kids explore her house, it was gonna magically burn down. And listen, I get being protective of your stuff. I understand maybe being like, oh, I don't want strangers using all my things. That's a normal feeling. But the difference is you're not supposed to throw a party at your house and invite people to spend the night if you also hate people being at your house and don't want them to touch, breathe on, or do anything. Like, why even bother throwing a party at that point if you're just gonna hate everything the entire time and make all your guests feel super uncomfortable? I know a lot of people like Karen that don't like people around, and that's fine, but if you don't like people around, then don't invite people around and then make them feel bad for it. And obviously, after this little rules seminar with all these things broken down, the 5 guys that are spending the night are just scared, you know, who wouldn't be intimidated at this point realistically? It's more like a prison camp than a birthday party. Like, you have to ask to use the bathroom. You're constantly being supervised. You have to whisper everything. You know, you weren't allowed to write notes to each other, like literally as if, you know, you were in jail. Anyways, it's about 3 p.m. at that point in the day. As I said, the party was planned to last all day. It just really didn't. So Mark asks his mom if they can go play outside for a while. And surprisingly, she says yes, probably because it just meant that, like, she didn't have to watch them. And they go outside and are actually able to talk at this point freely. They don't have to worry about, you know, Mark's mom eavesdropping on him or anything like that. They don't have to play by library rules and whisper. And Mark starts explaining that, like, yeah, my mom's basically always like this. I'm really sorry. She made me throw a birthday party. She made me invite everyone. There's a reason I was trying to warn everybody. I knew this was going to happen, and, like, I'm just sorry for it. And all of his friends are understanding. They're like, listen, man, it's not really your fault that your mom's like this, but, like, this just sucks, you know? It's no offense to you, but, like, wow, this is different than we expected. And anyways, they start playing outside. It was Mark's birthday party, and they're having an absolute blast. You know, from this guy's message, it seems like this was the time of the party. Everyone had an absolutely great time. You know, Karen wasn't around. They're just vibing, hanging out. But when time flies, you know, when you're having fun, time flies. Time feels like it's going pretty quick. So after what feels like only 20 to 25 minutes, Karen comes outside and starts yelling at them that they need to come inside because it's getting late. It's too late to be playing outside now. They just really need to get in right now. And it seems super urgent, and everybody that's playing outside is really confused because, like, the sun is still out, the streetlights aren't on yet. It's not like there's really any indication that it's getting late. If anything, it feels like only 20-25 minutes have passed. But, you know, she's screaming at them. They know how she's, like, acting so far. They don't really want to argue with her, so they just go inside. And when they walk inside, everybody looks at the clock and sees that it's only 5 p.m. So they were outside for 2 hours, but as I said, like, it's still light out. It's not like it's crazy late. She made it seem like they were outside playing till 11 p.m. And you know, unless you live by retirement home rules, I just don't really feel like 5 p.m. is crazy early. Like, if someone says, yeah, I went to bed at 5:30 last night, I'd be like, oh, are you 87? I wouldn't just assume that, you know, that's normal. And obviously, it catches everyone off guard, and one of the kids that's spending the night says something along the lines of like, oh, it's only 5 p.m. You know, he wasn't trying to argue with her, he wasn't trying to make her feel stupid. Literally all he says is, oh, it's only 5 p.m., just kind of noticing that it wasn't as late as he thought. But, you know, even though the kid wasn't trying to be sassy or mean, the Karen kind of took it as a challenge for some reason, and she says, well, if you don't like the rules of my house, then you can shut up, you know? In fact, with that comment, I'm gonna call your mom and she can come get you for you being rude. And the kid's just kind of flabbergasted because he really wasn't trying to pick a fight or do anything to make her mad. He's just like, okay, and he thinks she's not serious. But Karen really walks into the other room, calls this kid's mom as fast as possible, and says that he's being insanely rude, he's insulting her and her home, and, you know, this kid just has no ability to behave the correct way at someone else's house. And they don't really know what his mom was saying back, but it sounds pretty pissed off, which any mom would be, bro. Like, imagine your mom getting a call saying that you were misbehaving and you needed to come get picked up because you were being rude. Even if the mom's nuts, chances are, like, you know, your mom's gonna be mad at you and not understand that situation. So his mom rushes over there and comes and gets the kid and is obviously mad at him for quote-unquote being rude to the host, you know, not the way he was raised. And he gets taken home. And at that point, everyone that's left is even more afraid of Karen. They're like, dude, this chick will literally call our parents and just tell them that we were the problem. And like, what am I supposed to do? Tell my mom that she was the crazy one? They're never gonna believe that. I can't imagine that was a very fun ride for the kid home, dude. Like, if I would have gotten a call, like, sent home by someone at a sleepover for being rude, my mom would have had, like, one hand on the steering wheel, the other one, like, choking me like Bart Simpson. Obviously, I'm kidding. My mom wouldn't do that. But, you know, it would not have been a very fun car ride home in a situation where, like, I got kicked out of a party because I was being rude. But at that point, you know, everyone is even more afraid of Karen. They're even less likely to, like, stand up to her, tell her to F off because they just don't want to get in trouble. So Karen turns around and is like, now that that problem's out of the way, who's ready for dinner? And obviously, they had only eaten celery and carrots all day, so they're very hyped. And they go into the kitchen, and the smell isn't exactly what they were expecting. You know, maybe some pizza, fried chicken, something along those lines. It's like a party food. Nothing says fun like pizza, wings, and like some chicken fingers, bro. I'm just thinking about it right now. I'm kind of getting hungry, pushing these cows into the pit. But for whatever reason, this Karen had decided to make pea soup for dinner. And listen, I'm not saying everybody's gonna have like a magnificent birthday dinner, but Mark literally says, Mom, you know I hate pea soup. It was this kid's birthday party and she just whipped up something that she knew he was gonna hate. And like I feel like, you know, I've never hosted a party before for like a lot of people. But I just know for a fact that pea soup might not be a hit if I was hosting a dinner party, you know, like, hey, what's up? It's party time. Who's ready for some pea soup? Doesn't strike me as a really fun sleepover meal. Not once have I, like, ever wanted to eat pea soup with the boys and reminisce about old times. But regardless, it's the dinner. So they all sit down and they start eating it, and they're just sitting there in silence. Nobody wants to move, nobody wants to breathe, nobody wants to do anything that can make Karen mad and have them sent home for, like, being too rude. So obviously the dinner's extremely awkward, and Karen is kind of talking to herself the whole time, being like, oh my gosh, these kids, like, this is so exhausting, I can't believe I agreed to this. Once again, she threw the party. She didn't have to invite anyone, she chose to do it. Alright guys, I'm going to interrupt the video for just 1 second. If you take a look at your screen now, you will see a gift card code. For those of you that don't know, I give away a gift card in every single video I post here on this channel as a way to say thank you to you guys for subscribing, pressing the like button, and turning on notifications. So if you haven't already subscribed, turn on those notifications so you never miss another video. I literally give away free money, you got nothing to lose, and yeah, big thank you if you already do. I love you, enjoy. Anyways, the dinner kind of ends and she ends up pulling out these cards and she's like, all right, guys, it's game time. And they kind of get excited and she goes, we're playing poker. Keep in mind, they're 8-year-olds. None of them know how to play poker, but instead of, taking the time to teach everyone how to play, give them the rules, kind of explain anything, she just says the best way to learn is by playing. And listen, I'm not saying it's impossible to learn that way. It's a very confusing game to learn by watching. You know what I mean? It still doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And she's obviously just destroying these kids playing poker because they don't know how to play. It'd be like, me signing up for 8-year-old soccer leagues and then posting highlights and being like, yeah, I'm basically Pele. It just doesn't matter. You're supposed to be beating up on them. That's the point. And, she's destroying them in poker. But the worst part is she starts trash talking them. Like, oh, you suck. Why would you do that? Do you not know how to play? And the kids are like, yeah, I literally do not. No one taught me how to play this game. You just said we were going to play and started going. Everyone's not having a good time, and she's just trash talking. And finally, she starts to get annoyed that they suck. She's like, you guys are no fun to play against. You're not a challenge. As if, it's a giant flex that a 40-year-old woman can beat 8-year-olds at poker. I feel like this is the type of woman that I'd meet on a flight back to Vegas from somewhere, and she'd be like, yep, I'm gonna go big and win $8 million off the casinos this weekend. I've been reading How to Play Poker for Dummies. All right, just because you think you're really good at poker because you beat your 8-year-old's friends doesn't mean that you should be going to Vegas and trying to gamble full time. You know what I'm saying? And one of the kids, when she's trash talking, goes, I don't really want to play. And the mom is like, well, if you don't want to play, then I think it's bedtime. Because if we're not going to play games, then I don't know what we're going to do here. She threatens them. And, at that point, Mark, who's the kid of this woman, it's his birthday party, looks at the clock and goes, Mom, you're going to make us go to bed? It's 6:30 p.m. Why? And he wasn't trying to ask it in a mean way. He was just pointing out, like, come on, Mom, if we don't want to play this game, we have to go to bed. It's 6:30. Why are you going to send us to bed right now? And once again, dude, she takes it as a challenge. Like, anyone that questions anything she said all day, she was like, do you want war? Sound the horn. We must combat. And she flips over the poker table they're playing at, gets up in, her son Mark's face, points at him and goes, I'm sick and tired of your attitude today. I had all your friends over. I threw a party for you. They're having a great time and you keep ruining it by talking back to me. It's bedtime. Makes everybody get up from this table, go get in their sleeping bags, no TV, no lights, nothing, and says, go to bed now. Keep in mind, it's literally 6:30 p.m., so no one is tired. I don't know who goes to bed at 6:30 p.m. other than, my great-grandpa. Even then, that's probably pretty early, dude. He probably stays up till 7 to watch Jeopardy or something, whatever old people do these days. But they're too scared to do anything. They don't want to make her mad and, get up and leave. They don't want to move. They don't want to do anything. They're laying there. And finally, one of them at 8 p.m., after just laying there for an hour and a half, decides, all right, I'm going to go text my dad, call my dad. He had a cell phone, one of the old flip phones, and ask if he can come get all of us. I want to get all of us out of here. Mark, I'm sorry, you got to stay. It's your house. But, I don't want to spend the night here. I don't think these guys do either. So he goes, asks if he can use the bathroom because, of course, you have to ask. How dare you think you can handle going to pee by yourself? And while he's in the bathroom, he texts his dad, says to come get him. Well, the dad shows up to the house, knocks on the door. The Karen answers. He goes, hey, I'm blah, blah, blah's dad. I'm here to pick up all the kids because, their moms just want them home. They miss them. And the Karen, instead of being embarrassed that these kids had such a bad time, they asked to go home or being a little skeptical of the situation, seems mad relieved to be able to get these kids out of her house. She comes in, wakes them up, and is like, all right, guys, you got to go, bye, and goes to her room and slams the door before they're even out of the house. And poor Mark is just standing there looking at them like, please don't leave me behind. They just didn't really have that much of a choice. So they get into the dad's truck. They're all getting out of there, out of Karen Castle. And the dad kind of looks around at all the kids in his car and he goes, did you guys have fun? And everybody's just silent. And the dad looks at him again. He goes, yeah, she seemed a little crazy. And they just start driving, right? And the entire time, everyone's just kind of sitting there silently, not really knowing if they should talk about what happened or just how crazy it was. because they had finally escaped Karen Castle. You know, they just kind of chalked it up, went home, told their parents what happened. Their parents were obviously like surprised, but she didn't do anything crazy. She just made them not have fun. Like, it wasn't like she did anything like that they could really punish her for. She just had the weirdest birthday party of all time and apparently just hates people doing anything considered fun. Anyways, that Monday at school, dude, poor Mark had to go around to everybody that had come and be like, I'm so sorry, you know, I'm just so embarrassed. Like, poor guy feeling the shame, having to be like, I don't know what that was. And the best part of this is usually you would think like the kids at school would be like, you suck, I'm not your friend anymore. Thankfully, everybody kind of understood. They're like, yeah, it's not your fault. That was just different. As for everybody that was there and Mark, like the 5 of them that had that little sleepover night, they ended up getting crazy close. You know, I guess if you go through something like Karen Castle, you're probably going to end up being better friends than you were before. So they still hang out all the time. They still talk. It's just a rule that they never hang out at Mark's house because obvious reasons. But yeah, I'm still not really sure how it's possible to be this bad at parties. Like, if you hate it this much that you're gonna basically make it into a little prison, maybe just don't throw a party. I think that's equally acceptable and probably just better. Like, that would have been better to just not throw anything. But regardless, that's the story time of this Karen that ruined her own son's birthday party sleepover thing. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I'd really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought. If you enjoyed the intro song, a link to it can be found down below, along with a link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast. And pretty big news, ladies and gents, if you use code SCRUBBY from now until September 20th, it's actually going to be 30% off in the G Fuel store. So if you haven't gotten any already, you might as well head on over there and use code SCRUBBY. And other than that, last but certainly not least, if you take a look at your screen, you will see the new merch that's going to be coming out on the 29th of this month. Yeah, that's right. We got some Halloween stuff coming, but the old merch is still available at the link down below, but I just figured I'd tease you guys a little bit, show you what's up next. Sorry if I sounded a little bit weird today. I've got a little bit of a cold, but yeah. On that note, guys, I think that'll do it for the video. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.